All right, we looked at the how World War One started. We haven't been in the war. Now we're going to see how America ends up joining World War One. You think of the 1914, 1915, 1916. Europe is going at this war. I mean, they're going at it. Okay, they're beating each other up. I mean, Britain's entire army needed to be completely redrafted after the first 6 months because of the killing. You think about they're going head to head, and then all of a sudden the United States is going to come in at the at the end of the war, and it's going to be over pretty quickly. So you think of it as they're beating each other up. Let's say you took out Gomez here and put in a fresh fighter. Yeah, I mean it's going to be a little unfair. Okay, so American immigrants don't want to fight against their home country, and this is kind of makes sense. I mean, every time we talk about this in class, and I'll say, how many of you have relatives in Mexico? 3, 4 kids raise their hand. Okay, would you want to go to war against Mexico for the United States? Well, no way. Well, why not? Because I got family there. Those are my customs. Those are my traditions. That's my home country. Same sort of thing at this time, but with Germans, with Italians, with Eastern Europeans. They don't want to go fight against a country that they have family from. Okay, now on the other side, the United States has a strong bond with England. All right, I mean we have similar government, language, heritage. We have this bond, economic bond. Okay, we trade more with the Allied powers. Okay, so on one side we don't want to go to war against one. We don't want to go against war against the other. So what we do is we stay neutral. We stay out of it. We say that's your war. It's World War One. It's over in Europe. We're over here. Deal with it. Okay, but we keep trading with the Allies. All right, and this is where we're going to get into some trouble. Okay, so Wilson's big thing, President Woodrow Wilson wants to make the world safe for democracy. Okay, the countries of the Central Powers are dictatorships. They're not democracy. And we are going to start to lean more towards the Allies as time gets closer here. Okay, so what is starting to happen is Allied ships, okay, are starting to be sunk by German submarines. Okay, you see here, here's England, here's France, where a lot of the fighting is going on. Everything has to cross the English Channel. Well, what the Germans do is they put their U-boats. And they just sink cargo ships, anything that's coming through. Every one of these dots is a ship that was sunk by the Germans in the first 6 months of this U-boat warfare. Here's the second 6 months. Okay, a lot of this, starts to be a lot of money being lost. We're shipping to the British, and we're starting to be like, hey, our ships are getting sunk, and we're not even in this war. Okay, because remember, they're still shipping neutral, or they're sinking neutral ships if you are supplying the Allies. Okay. Now, what happens is some of these U.S. ships are being sunk by German U-boats, and what happens is there's a passenger ship called the Lusitania. All right, and on board there's tons of weapons in the bottom cargo. Okay, it leaves New York. It's going over to England. Okay, or to Ireland. Or it's sunk off the coast of Ireland, and it gets bombed by the Germans. Okay, it gets torpedoed. 128 Americans dead. This really going to start to fire up Americans as like, hey, we're not even in this war. We have Americans dying while they're sinking our ships. Sorry. And Wilson comes out and says, you know what? After another ship is sunk, he says, this is your final warning. You sink our ships again, we're coming into war. Okay? So because we're trading with the Allies, our ships start to get sunk, which makes our president and our people a little upset. Okay? You see the Lusitania going down like the Titanic. I mean, this is a big luxury passenger ship. The next thing is this Zimmerman telegram. What happens is Germany sends this coded message to Mexico and says, you know what, Mexico, why don't you attack the United States when we go to war, and we'll beat the United States, and when we win, we'll give you back Texas, we'll give you back New Mexico, we'll give you back Arizona. We'll be all good, okay? At this time, the United States and Mexico are kind of on rocky terms. Well, what happens is it gets intercepted, okay? It's intercepted by the British. They decode it and give it to the United States. Now, U.S. is looking at this like, dude, you're starting to start stuff with Mexico, bringing Mexico against us. We're not even in this war, and you're already planning on how to beat us, okay? You see what they're doing. This is from Germany. We make Mexico an alliance, make war together, make peace together. We'll give you generous financial money, financial support. We'll give you back Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona. We'll take care of you. Again, it never makes it to the United States because the British, a spy gets it. We intercept, it gets to us, just making us more upset. Okay. You see here the German talking to the Mexican join Germany and get a bit of the United States because all those states used to be part of Mexico. Okay. Not that long ago. I mean, like 60 years ago. Okay, at this time. All right. So Germans began sinking our ships. They knew that we were coming in soon, so they just start bombing any American ships that come in. You have the tensions with the Lusitania, with the Zimmerman Note, and Wilson is going to ask Congress to declare war. So we declare war on Germany, okay, 1917. So again, alliances, you can't just declare war on one, you're declaring war on the entire alliance, and this is what happens, okay? Now, we declare war. Our military is not very big at this time, okay? What happens is we're going to create something called the Selective Service Act that requires all men 18 or older, 18 to 26, register for the draft, for the military. And what we are able to do is we're able to get 24 million men registered and bring in 3 million American troops into action. Okay? So you think back to that beginning fight. They're boxing it. Round 1, round 2, round 3. All of a sudden you bring in a fresh fighter, 3 million fresh fighters. Okay? They were fighting 1914, 1915, 1916. Almost a couple months in 1917, and then we're going to bring in 3 million men. Yeah, you kind of figure out what's going to happen. Okay, so in the United States, things start to because some people are looking at this like, why are we getting into a war over there? We got our own issues here. Starting to talk bad about the war, and the United States is going to pass something called the 2 Acts, the espionage, that's spying. You can see the Mountain Dew, spying, okay? And the sedition acts, okay? So sedition is when you're talking bad about the government, okay? So it's protected under the First Amendment, but the president's going to pass this. It says, we're at war. If you're talking bad about the government, we can put you in jail, okay? So you could actually go to jail for interfering with the war effort, for speaking out against the government. Okay, we're gonna look at this because this is kind of a problem. We have First Amendment freedom of speech. You can talk bad about the government all you want. Okay, you don't like the president, go ahead, talk about it. But during World War I, if you did, you go to jail. Okay, you get fined. All right, that's going to be a problem. Okay, so we are now in the war. It's going to be over pretty quickly. And we'll see the technology and the fighting up next. All right? Have a good day.